It's Halloween season, everyone. My favorite time of year, and I think that's a good enough reason to get away from Nickelodeon 1979 for a while and visit Nickelodeon 1986. Welcome to our first Knacks special, where we look at some of the one-off features Nickelodeon's run over the years. I'm going to throw these up every once in a while for holidays and special occasions. Chronology be damned. We're going to be jumping all over the place with these. So, before Are You Afraid of the Dark, how did Nickelodeon get spooky? The year is 1986, one of Nickelodeon's foundational years, up there with 1979, 1981, and 1991.
On your mark, get set, go! These two teams are blindly pounding their mallets to be the first to exterminate a big bug. The first to smash one will step on the competition by winning $20 and control of the most daringly different show on television, Double Dare!
1986 was the year of Double Dare, Nickelodeon's first game show and its first original show that committed to the fun, messy aesthetic that would carry the channel into the 90s. Sure, You Can't Do That on Television introduced the green slime, but that wasn't a Nickelodeon original, and they didn't really realize what they had until Fred Siebert showed up from MTV and helped create the slime logo, and well, that's like 3 episodes worth of story. Look, the point is, Double Dare was when Nickelodeon decided what kind of channel it wanted to be, and didn't look back. Now, you might think a show where kids run obstacle courses where they have to climb through giant ears and find little red flags and massive cream pies would sell itself, but the one element you couldn't be sure of was how kids were gonna take to the host. Were kids gonna like Marc Summers? Crazy, you say. Everyone loves Marc Summers. Yeah, we all do love him. He's basically everyone's favorite dorky TV uncle. You can't not love him. But first, we all had to fall in love with him, and Nickelodeon wanted to make sure you did. October 1986 saw the premiere of Double Dare. It also saw the premiere of a half-hour, light-hearted, spooky special called Marc Summers Mystery Magical Special. Dang it, by Halloween, you're gonna know who Marc Summers is. The story is as follows. Marc Summers is driving 3 kids home after seeing a scary movie when he gets a flat tire. He pulls up to a dark castle and hopes that there's a phone. A man is leaving, muttering about the weird things going on inside.
Excuse me, sir, do you have a phone we can use?
Help yourself!
Yes, that's John Astin, the original Gomez Addams. No, sadly, he doesn't stick around. Thanks for the cameo. So Mark and the kids go inside. The castle is a creepy place that seems to have some magic to it. The fireplace lights itself, painted eyes follow you across the room, a phone rings even though the cord is cut, secret passages, a severed head, oh my god, wow, oh, that one's a little out of place. Eventually Mark vanishes and the kids have to deal with things themselves. They meet some magicians, watch their acts, they're eventually reunited with Mark. There's a sword fight that comes out of nowhere, and everyone just leaves. Mark's tire is magically repaired, and some poor dope whose car ran out of gas asks if he can use the phone.
Help yourself!
Okay, so there really isn't much of a plot here. What this is a collection of minor gags that lead into a handful of performances from a few professional magicians, the headliner being Lance Burton.
Say hello to my new friend, world-famous magician Lance Burton. He's the one who's been having all the fun with us around here.
Let me tell you, I used to be big in the magic as a kid in the late 80s and throughout the 90s. I watched pretty much every special I could, and Lance Burton was all over the place. I think the thing that made him stand out was that his gimmick was that he was a magician. Like, capital M magician. The magician stereotype made flesh. A charming young man with frills for days, summoning birds from thin air. Oh, I see you, David Copperfield, with your business casual and puffy silver jackets, making the Statue of Liberty disappear. I'm Lance Burton. I'm old school. I'm dressed like the Third Doctor, and I'm making things levitate. I am a dark specter, ripped from a Jane Austen novel, possessing the body of Paul Rubens. I'm Lance Burton. I won the Stanley Cup in magic. Yeah, he's fine. This is one of his earlier TV appearances. He was on Johnny Carson a few times before this, and that was about it. However, this special breaks the biggest rule of televised magic. Don't cut away. The second you make a cut, the act is compromised. You're just splicing together the best looking bits, and if the magician messes up, you can just do another take. I'm not saying Burton ever messed up, I don't know, because there's cuts. Magic is so much better live, guys. Now, Lance Burton is the main attraction here, but he is not the only magician present. In the middle of the special, we have an act from Tina Leonard, who isn't nearly the name in magic that Burton would become, but she ends up giving the standout performance of the show. Her act, where she plays a tired cleaning lady whose mop comes to life and attempts to woo her, is utterly charming. See, here lies the big difference between Burton and Leonard. Lance Burton does magic tricks. He stands before you, throws some flames around, some candles appear out of nowhere. You enjoy it because your brain is going, hey, that's impossible. Leonard uses magic to tell a story. A bittersweet story of a lonely woman dreaming of romance. And you emotionally connect with that character she's performing. It's too bad that this is her only moment in the special. Later, Marc Summers is all, hey kids, meet my new friend Lance Burton. He's pretty cool. We're gonna do an act together. And there he is. He's gonna go get in a sword fight with a demon, I guess. Not sure what that's about. There's no setup for it, but Burton sure is cool. Tina Leonard doesn't get that kind of recognition here. Nobody calls her by name. She doesn't return. She doesn't get to fight a demon, I guess, with a sword. But you know, screw it. She didn't need to sword fight a demon, I guess, to be the special's MVP. Tina Leonard, if you're watching, you're awesome and I love you. The special was filmed at the Magic Castle in Hollywood, a private clubhouse for magicians and the home of the Academy of Magical Arts. On staff for the special was Stan Allen, another magician and, in 1991, the founding editor of Magic magazine. He's credited here as Magic Producer, which might just mean he had the keys to the Magic Castle that night. Yes, this is clearly a magic special that got dressed up a little bit to pass off as a Halloween special. Now, there's barely any behind-the-scenes information available, but I would speculate that the reason for this special was to utilize some of Summers' other talents that weren't being utilized on Double Dare. Namely, Marc Summers is also a professional magician.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Hollywood, the comedy magic of Marc Summers.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you. Anybody here own a Honda Civic at all? Do you? Piece of crap those things are, man. I should have known I bought it at one of those Honda Hoover dealerships. Went to take the test drive, you know, the guy threw some dirt in front of the car and told me to start it up. What I want you to do, normally what the magicians do is they have you select a card. But you seem like a bright guy, and I'd like to get you more involved, all right? Are you good with numbers?
Yeah, I suppose.
Count 4 cards out loud in my hand so everybody can see.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Been watching Sesame Street. Yeah. Back in the Midwest, we used to do things different. We used to do the cow pasture shuffle. Interesting. Actually, what I have here, it's a large card. It's a prediction. We won't look at it just yet, Kevin. But before I turn it around, what I want you to do is to cut your card in half. In other words, if you selected the 4 of diamonds, your card is now the 2 of diamonds. Or if he selected the 10 of hearts, his card now becomes the 5 of hearts, okay? Cutting your card in half, shout it out loud. I will turn this around, it will match, and thunderous applause will come forward for both of us, okay? What was your card cut in half?
3.5 of clubs.
3.5. Well, that's the one I have here, you see. It's the 3.5 of clubs. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much. Give Kevin a hand.
However, that speculation falls apart when you realize that Summers doesn't really do any magic in this special at all. There's a scene where Burton plays the role of Summers' hands, and that's the closest we get. A second theory might be that Summers' history in professional magic might have given him the connections to pull this special off. I don't know. If I ever meet Marc Summers, I'll ask him. But without Marc Summers the magician, we're left with Marc Summers the actor, which, well...
I just wish we could find a phone. Great! Now maybe we get that tire fixed.
Marc Summers, the world's greatest game show host, maybe not the best actor in the world. His character here is essentially one of those kid show adult kids, like, Steve from Blue's Clues. He may have the body of a 35-year-old man, but he's always a step behind all you 8-year-olds. Which brings us to the child actors. They're alright for child actors. They don't really have to extend themselves. They just have to overreact to prop skeletons and severed heads. Oh my god. Seriously, this goes a step too far. There's Trenton Teagan. He didn't do much after this except for playing young Mr. Belvedere, role of a lifetime. Sherry Appleby's another story. She's been in a lot of stuff, including the lead roles in Roswell and Unreal. And then, Jonathan Brandis. You can't talk about him without sighing a bit. Jonathan Brandis had a lot of success early on, getting lead roles in things like the It miniseries and films like The Neverending Story 2, the Rodney Dangerfield comedy Ladybugs, and that weird Chuck Norris fantasy film Sidekicks, before becoming a regular on SeaQuest DSV. However, Brandis' 20s proved less kind to him. It got hard to find roles, he reportedly started drinking heavily, and in 2003, he committed suicide. He was 27. I've kind of written myself into a downer corner there, but that's kind of unavoidable when talking about Brandis. Still missed, buddy. Marc Summers' Magical Mystery Special is plotless. It's cheap, and it's really, really cheesy. And I kind of love it. It has a slapdash feel like it was conceived, shot, and edited over a weekend. A magic show that doesn't really care to be true to magic shows. Less of a professional production and more of a bunch of friends getting together and goofing off with a camera and whatever they can find in this magician club they somehow talk their way into. It should be noted that there's no credited writer for this, so it could all well be highly improvised. It has an almost do-it-yourself charm to the whole production, and I can't help but be amused by it all. And with it being an early performance for Lance Burton and one of the few television appearances of Tina Leonard, it does have some magician historical value. This hasn't received a home video release, but it aired multiple times a year for 10 years between 1986 and 1996, so it was a regular feature on the old Nickelodeon tape trading scene, and nowadays you can find multiple copies on YouTube. If you're looking for something easy and corny to fill out a half-hour spot in your Halloween marathon, it might be worth a look. It's fun. Still, that head. Never found out what the deal was with that head.
Nick, 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 Nickelodeon. Nick, 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 Nickelodeon.
Thank you all for watching. If you like what you see, perhaps consider throwing me a few bucks on Patreon. Also, like, share, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. These are all free and help me tremendously. And I hope you all have a spooky Halloween.